Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Meta, an Apex Legends competitive podcast. I am Burke, and joining me today are ALGS YouTubers Jumba and Jhawk to talk about the competitive Apex Legends tier list. We'll get a little bit that applies to ranked and other stuff, but mostly focused on competitive and whether or not these legends are actually good. And I think that there are going to be some mixed opinions here. So I guess we'll just start off, go right into it. Alter. I'll put her just in here just to see how are we feeling about Alter as a legend? Do we feel like I'm kind of also, do we like the S to F? Maybe we get rid of E. I feel like E's like it shouldn't exist.
E's too much. Yeah. I
I
think
think.
S to F, or do you think? Do we need D?
Well, I was about to say I think Alter's D tier.
Okay.
Why D? I feel like her. Yeah, I guess once they nerf that, like some of her interactions.
Yeah, like she had that niche thing with crypto. I don't know. It's just like certain maps she's like kind of nerfed by because it's like on Stormpoint there's not as many opportunities in certain zones to use her Q at all. So she's better in like heavy urban areas, but then even in certain like there's just huge walls that her thing can't go through. So it's very specific interactions. And my biggest thing is that all of her abilities can be used against her. So like you create a queue to go through a wall and go back through it. Well, they can chase you through it. You use the ult, like when you're down to try and get away and get back to an ult, they could just take the little portal through too. So it feels like she's kind of easily counterable.
The literal only redeeming quality is that one of her perks she can scan console, but like there are infinitely better console characters. So yeah, I'd probably say D tier too.
And if we're talking about this is comp specific too, like the ring console is kind of the only good thing about her kit, quite frankly, in
That's what I'm saying.
competitive.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think with E District it's like she's any more valuable? Because I feel like on E District she does definitely have some like good interactions with how much like verticality there is to the map, but which could maybe put her to C. But I definitely think D's. Honestly, this is one of the ones I probably don't have much of an argument for.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I think the more urban map does help her, but still, it's just such a specific thing that she can do that, like, think about in comp, like, what does her Q really do for you outside of if you're below or above a team, being able to, like, creatively attack them? You know what I mean? Or, like, slightly, instead of having to run all the way around a building to the door, you can just go straight through the wall and maybe you don't die in that specific moment. It's like these really tiny things that I think she's really strong at, but in comp, those aren't that necessary.
And if I
If that
think
makes
about the
sense.
context of this current meta, because like I think that's the best way to play it, her ult gives like sort of, I guess, reset ability, but like yeah, like why teleport out when like you can like reset and then stay in the fight? Like the fact that the reset meta right now that we have is so strong, I think it weakens her a little bit because if it wasn't, then after it gives people the ability like to get out, get that reset that maybe you couldn't typically get. So yeah, I think that's
Also in comp, it's just so bold to think that you can like use it effectively. Like usually when you get docked, you're gonna die like pretty quickly. They're gonna thirst you almost
yeah.
immediately while you're trying to pop it. And if you do pop it, they also now know that on the other side of that is not a full team, so they might just fully like all
Like you
three of
said,
them
they
go
could take
through.
the
So
port. They could take the port. They couldn't take the port, and like only your teammates can. It'd be way better.
way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like the fact that you have to look at it and hold down for an
Right.
interaction and it's delayed, like at that point, Newcastle could already res you by the time that you already like all of
And
that
that's
happens.
what I'm saying too. The fact you have to turn and look at it, you could like also now your knockdown shield is turning away from them. They just thirst you. Like it takes too long. In comp, it's not good.
If it was instant, I would say there could be like some niche metas. Like if it was just like as soon as you get down, you press a button and you're teleported back. I could see a niche meta where there's like a like alter lifeline caustic, and you just like anytime that it goes down, you just take port back, you just caustic it up, lifeline res, and just hard look at the portal. Maybe there's like but that's like contingent on her being buffed, which is just non-existent. So
It would just be old Revolt, but the
yeah.
problem is old Revolt was better because you also would come back with your shields,
Yep.
and like you wouldn't have to go down in order for it to send you back. So and old Rev barely had any play. There was like some niche stuff with him, but that's it.
Shout out phony. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, not F because she does have that console.
She can't hit ring console, which is
Yeah.
really
And-
important.
Yes.
Yeah, super important. And then like being a skirmisher, that gives you 2 ways to get Evo now.
Yep.
But other than that,
Yep. I'll take that. Ash. I think I'd go B, maybe even A. I think Ash is actually
Not A.
I think
Not A.
I think Ash is criminally slept on. Maybe not to the point of being like top comp viable, but if Pathfinder wasn't so good, I would say Ash was A tier.
I think Ash is really good. I don't think she's A, but I do think she's like she's like a certain change away from moving up. Like if you gave her like the path treatment where she can hit like ring console or survey scan, she'd be insane because the
Yeah.
ult can instantly move your team. Because like the thing with path too is it got the damage reduction was huge for it. With her, you don't even have to take damage at all. You can
Yeah.
just insta do it. The only problem is I do think the ult's a little buggy sometimes
Yeah.
with where it places.
that's the
So,
problem. Like,
yeah,
because like the other thing that's like so cool about her ult is like if you're in a building, you get like that ability with the altar. You go through windows, all that stuff. So you make rotations that you can't even make with path,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
But I think it's like it's a lot shorter than a zip, and then it's also just so buggy. Like it doesn't go where you want to go, and you have to move quick. Like it unfortunately hurts you. But like that arc, when you put that arc that has like it attaches multiple enemies, especially again in a meta with like bubble fighting going in and out, it actually can be really cool. Like how it works,
Mhm.
where, like just locking a person down, they can't move, and you can get good damage on them. So I was thinking like top C, but I'd be okay with a B if you guys feel strongly about
Yeah.
B.
I honestly think I'm good with B, but I just for the sake of argument that I think there could be an argument to put her in A if I think she is slept on as a counter meta to Newcastle, because that arc snare, for one, you're not Newcastle walling out of that. You could Newcastle where you're at, but you can also catch someone mid ult. You can catch people on their rotates. I think and then also partnering it with the Newcastle, like you said, to like get into places you never would get to before, to like take a second floor of a building without having to go roof or going through a door, to be able to get a place where like, okay, we're not sieging this building, we just are suddenly on the bottom floor below you, or we're suddenly above you in a building hold up, or even partner with a Gibby. I think like Ash Maggie have a lot of synergy with like as a counter meta to run together, and you partner that with like a Pathfinder or a Cat, and I think you could make something work. But yeah, I'll sit with B. I'd say very top of B though.
If she got, and it feels like it fits her kit because even her passive can like reveal enemy location. If she got beacon scan on one of her perks, not console beacon scan, I think yeah, she'd be pretty crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like the way they made her like a track. Like it seems like she could just become a recon legend, a la Valk. Like I'm a little surprised they haven't tried that. Like it'd be cool to see her like get the survey treatment for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool too because I like what they did with Path and Fuse and these characters where like they're not a survey character or a controller, but they're giving them these kind of abilities. I like that kind of stuff, and I think it would be cool if she stayed in Assault but could hit survey beacons.
Plus, like
Personally,
her level 2 upgrades, they do like recon abilities, but like they kind of
yeah,
suck. Like
yeah,
if these are not updated, because I know like I'm reading the wiki right now, which sometimes can be outdated, but call out number of nearby squads in a 150-meter radius after a squad wipe, or
yeah,
then marked for death reveals for 60 seconds. Now, I'm pretty sure I know that your mini map is a 200-meter radius. So like the first one doesn't even get you your entire mini map, which like crypto, you throw out his drones, 200-meter radius, you can just see squats. So like just use a crypto, and then like 1 minute to live, yeah, like marked for death reveals for 60 seconds instead. Again, doesn't really matter because like you need to find death boxes comp. That's not going to be good.
Right.
Their recon abilities though. Give her like the fact of scanning recon on one of those things. Crazy, crazy character at that.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it gets redundant maybe with all the characters, but
in the reset meta where you literally, it spawns a respawn beacon for a support legend when you grab the banner. You can't, the old benefit of an Ash would have been, okay, you're going to reveal that solo or that duo and hunt them down to a crafter and stop them, right? But now it's like, because we were playing rank the other day and you hit that you hit that tracker on the death box. 60 seconds is a long time to just be getting updates of where this team is. Like if it wasn't like instant rezzing right where you are after a fight, like was the meta, then you would be able to, like, she'd be really good for hunting them down. I think honestly, meta as is, take out that element, she'd be really good right now. I think for that reason though, you're not tracking down a duo, you're tracking down a trio, so it's like a little less relevant. You're not catching anyone out. For ranked, probably a little bit better, but yeah, definitely not. I'd agree. Top of B. All right, Ballistic.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to keep the term F or if you want to be like not fucking played. Just put them down the bottom, like.
I honestly believe that Ballistic is worse in comp than he is in the normal game. Like I feel like in comp he almost offers you no utility
Gold
at all.
PK. Gold PK bubble fights.
I get the speed kind of cool, but like it's so no, like there's no way. Like and like yeah, in like the actual game, like pubs, because you can run 3 guns, you do get like that unlimited thing. Like his ult kind of can be fun to use in like those moments and good when you're like running around and want that unlimited ammo. Sure. I don't know who I heard talk about it the other day, or it was like a Twitch chat or something. Someone said this. I thought it was kind of cool. I'm like, that's interesting. If you hit like his tack, like someone can't 3-pump you with a mastiff, because if they shoot that third shot that they're going to get the overheat. But again, like you have to be like so fine-tuned with that. Like it sucks.
I'm gonna go very unpopular because I actually think that Ballistic is another criminally, okay, hear me out. I know this is niche, but this is the meta right now. We have a Gibby meta, right? We have Gibby, shotgun, bubble peeking meta. All right. You put a charge rifle or a sentinel in this guy's hands, and then you put him like a flatline or like a hemlock nemesis as the secondary, and then you give them a mastiff in the sling, right? Every bubble fight you're gonna have ult. You rock it with a Gibby. You're gonna have a gold mastiff in every single fight, and we were talking about this Jumba earlier about bubble fighting, right? You play your side, right? They play their side of the bubble. You put your Q down on the floor while you're playing that side of the bubble. That dude either has to take that fight, and then he can't, like you said, 3-pump with a mastiff, or he has to play a different area. So you're zoning them out of a part of the bubble in a fight, which is pretty good for positioning and and controlling where the enemy can play. This is something big in like Smash, right? Like area control, and I think that's like, I feel like that would be it's in this very specific Gibby bubble fighting meta. I think that like a Ballistic and a Gibby could actually go insane under the right, like in fights.
Okay, but here's the thing. With Ballistic, a lot of the buffs his ult gives to your teammates, number one, like if you're just good at fighting, don't matter at all. Like you could
Yeah.
just be like, well, just get better at fighting. Why do you need to reload ever so slightly faster? It doesn't really change anything. It doesn't really change the outcome of the fight. And then like the gold gun thing is nice, but it's also like there are ways to get gold guns naturally in the game already, from big mod, from vaults, from you just get a lucky attachment from the gold reset bins. Like there's so many ways you could get gold stuff anyway.
Oh yeah.
And he can't scan ring console, he can't scan survey beacon, so he doesn't help you get evo at all towards your team.
Yeah, not at all.
The area of effect thing, I think that can be replaced by just simply throwing an arc star on the ground. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like there are certain things that you can do. All of his abilities feel so replaceable to where in comp it's like it feels like a complete waste to be using him when you can just overcome any of that stuff anyway.
Yeah,
Like,
does it
a lot of
stack
what you
with
say-
does the PK or the shotgun movement for Gibby, does that stack with the Ballistic? Because you can increase a movement buff, right? Does that stack?
have
I
no
don't
idea.
know if it does.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that stacks, but what I would say is that, like, in theory, a lot of what you say sounds really good, but it's almost something that I fear in practice wouldn't play out, and then like everything you sacrifice to have a Ballistic on your team, because like I mean, and this is the tough thing, like with metas, like especially the metas I feel are so strong with this right now. Like if we did this tier list a couple months ago, there's a lot of flexibility, like fluidity with like different characters, a lot. But like right now, I feel like we'll get to it, but I feel like you kind of have there's 2 characters you mostly need to have on your
Yeah.
team. Just who are you sacrificing at that point, like taking off?
But it's
Yeah,
even just like every meta ever. It's like, are you going to sacrifice one of these huge, crazy, good meta characters so that I can give you a gold mastiff? That just doesn't feel like a good trade off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying though. I mean, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think this is my argument to not keep him an F tier. I would
Okay.
say, D, maybe C would be my opinion on
He's
that one.
He
Low
offers
D,
no.
bottom
He,
D. Please
he
don't kill my
offers. He
man.
offers nothing to comp. Nothing.
If Ballistic is an F, there's barely any characters on this list that you'd put F. Like what?
I can think of
What
a
are you
very
talking about?
specific legend that
There's
He-
two
two
characters. I think
characters.
yeah, I'll stick
I
with
can
the
make the
F, but
argument that almost every character offers at least something that he doesn't. He just doesn't. Like I said, the buffs. I think it's a placebo. I really don't think they actually turn the tides of fights at all.
Counter
Outside of
argument.
the
Here you
fact
go.
that maybe you pick up a Mozam when Mozams were like god tier, and now you have two guaranteed with skull EPs just off like guaranteed. You know what I mean? But that's it, and that's only during ult. So
The infinite ammo means you never carry shotgun. You don't even have to carry shotgun ammo. And
that's bold though, because you're assuming every fight in
his
comp
ult's
you're
so
going to have ultimate.
fast.
But that's not how comp works. You get you fight, you get third party. Now you just don't have shotgun ammo. You're screwed.
Well, you
Like,
grab it out of the bin. You grab it out of the death box.
it's
sometimes
also
you don't have
one
time to loot out
shot.
of
Like
death box.
we carry 20 bullets. Like that is
Yeah.
like
You could carry
you're
like
talking
you could carry like
difference-
10 frags. Imagine.
10
You just-
Okay, but then at that point, like, why not just play Fuse? You get way more area of denial. You get way more nades, and Fuse is actually somewhat
or
meta.
Maggie. Just use Maggie. Like
It-
you're talking everything you're talking about with a bubble and the speed. Maggie's got the speed with their shotguns already, and then you just put the drill on the edge of the bubble. Like
Yeah, there's so many other characters that do everything he does for the most part better.
But you can have
can
two.
you- what tier POI do you say Gauntlet is?
We got to move on. This is gonna take
Yeah,
way
yeah,
too long. If we're sitting here talking about
Okay.
Ballistic. This
All right.
much.
I'll
This
concede
has-
F. I'll concede F. I'll concede F. This is an interesting one. Bangalore has been like obviously the top for a long, long time, but I feel like now she's not really like providing nearly as much value. I don't think she's getting even maybe a few teams are running her in comp. I would
running her for sure. TSM I think has been running her.
I think she's still solid, but I definitely think if you're putting her up with like a Maggie, I don't think that the value is there. I would say like she'd probably be B, put her with Ash maybe.
I think she's still A.
I think she's A. Like the coverage of like her smoke and blocking off sight lines and everything like that is still very good. Her ult's really good for zoning. She's still like yeah, like even the speed boost and like her thing like that she gets with her passive is all really good. I think she's still A.
Here's my thing. I think Bangalore. I mean, we used to talk like not even that long about Bangalore being the exclusive like S tier legend.
Right.
The only reason I would drop her to A is not to anything that's happened to her. It's the fact that Gibby and Newcastle are so strong,
Yeah.
and they specifically have abilities that counter her. Newcastle's wall, you shoot a smoke at it. Like that used to be why Rampart was so bad. Bangalore smoke at it, they can't see you anymore.
Right.
Newcastle's wall can zap that thing. You put up the Newcastle Q to like give you some more cover, the Gibby bubble, so her ult can't hit you. There's just so many more ways that like she can't directly affect you with some of the current characters. But in terms of her individual kit, I still think it's one of the best in the game.
But that's a good point. Like though, like when you're throwing a smoke, if you're assuming like a team is posted up that you're trying to prevent their like LOS from you, like if they have a Newcastle wall, you can't smoke that. Like obviously, if
Well,
the
you can
gen's
still
down,
cut off the LOS. You just can't put it
smoke that. You gotta
right
put it
in
as
front
something
of
else,
it
yeah.
because that's like when here's when the reason Rampart was never really that good at meta is because a bang team just aims the bang smoke, rebounds it off your wall, and jumps straight through it
Yeah.
into your safe haven.
That's
And
true.
what do? You don't see them coming unless you had Digi Threat. So
right?
you can't do that specifically to Newcastle, but you can cut off the LOS. So and
But moving from moving from spot to spot, like while you're rotating, like being able to smoke your cross, like it's just
huge.
still so strong, right? Like
Yeah,
people
I'll
run
concede
Cat-
that.
Yeah, people run Cat for the ability of her wall, which like it's not as big, but like smokes just are two little small walls.
But then why not just like run Gibby at that point and then just
But
if
that's
any
what- that's
like you
why
don't
I'm
have to
not saying
smoke your
that.
cross.
Well, that's
See,
not
but
saying
that's
she's
the
S,
thing.
but like if you run Newcastle Bang, it could be a thing instead of running Newcastle Gibby, right? Like that's the thing.
Gibby, the thing too is I'm not saying that you run Bang over Gibby, but Bang does offer you more versatility when crossing stuff because you get two smokes and Gibby gets one bubble.
And you
And
can't
that
see
the
through it.
one, yeah, that one bubble, like it does make you impenetrable, but it only shuts down
Yeah,
your
and people
area
are
where the
looking
smoke
straight at you when you're
the smoke can completely cut off two different areas of LOS. So now maybe your two biggest threats can't see you and you can cross for free. So
yeah. Okay.
Enough back in the day, especially before like abilities and everything like that, I used to argue that Bang and Gibraltar essentially provided almost like the exact same thing, more in like a ranked pub
Yeah.
style. So it's an interesting comparison that we're talking with them now. But yeah,
Yeah, I agree. They are kind of like they're similar. They're very similar.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd say A. I definitely would say bottom of A because I think there's a lot. I think there's legends I definitely would argue are gonna outshine them here. Bloodhound. This is I feel like Bloodhound's either always like completely like amazing or just kind of like not thought of at all. And I think we're right now they're kind of like I feel like they're
yeah, C or
somewhere
D.
C or
I don't
D.
know. Like Hound can hit the surveys, which is nice, but what's the point of the scan anymore when you can't do it through smokes?
Yeah. And well,
Like,
actually, I would argue that like maybe C just because of the fact that Bang isn't played as much. Like
yeah,
now
but
they're
then
a
like
little
why do you
more.
need wall hacks? Like the reason you wanted Bloodhound was because the wall hacks can go through smoke. If there is no bang, not cutting off LOS, why do you need wall hacks to see that they're in a Gibby bubble or behind a Newcastle wall? You should already know that, right? Like,
Right.
especially we're talking about the pro players. Like, you only use the wall hacks when it's so oppressive that like. But if it's not that oppressive, what's the point in using it?
and they're all what is their ult? Like honestly, it's so funny. Played so little this season. Like Bloodhound has been played so little this season. Like I can't remember. There was nerfs to their ult. So what does the ult do now? Can you
It's
see
the
through smoke with
same.
the red?
It's pretty much the same. You just can't see through smoke.
Which
Yeah,
like
But
but
now,
you
but now
just
the
take it
threat
get all
vision
the
everyone has. So I'm not sure.
right.
so yeah,
You gain
which is its
speed too,
biggest thing.
Speed
but
boost,
yeah,
Yeah, but forget
which
about
is
the
like
speed nerf,
worse
right?
than
Like if
ballistic
I
at
want
that
to
point.
ask if like you could see through smokes with it, and if you can't see through smokes
No,
with
you can't.
the Bloodhound
no,
ult,
you
then
cannot.
like it's pointless. Like
Yeah,
it
I would
literally
say
is
D
pointless.
tier, probably.
There's also, I mean, there's like enemy footprints, but like nobody really cares
Yeah.
about those when you're an ult. So yeah, I mean, Bloodhound is just so like, why would you ever be playing Bloodhound in comp at this point?
And you don't need like the footprints when you have a character like what Crypto can do. Just run Crypto.
Yeah,
Crypto's like way better for tracking down enemies.
I
And then
agree. Crypto is way
the
better for
survey,
tracking enemies.
yeah, the survey beacon like update of just like having beacons everywhere
Yeah.
is like such an improvement. A lot of the recon characters can track down enemies. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll be honest. I think Bloodhound's ult needs some work from the
Yeah.
devs.
I
'Cause they,
honestly, yeah.
I
What
was
would you
gonna say
do?
they've just like kind of I don't know, but it just feels like some of the abilities are like kind of useless at this point. Like the fact that you can't see through smoke and there's the threat vision, like you said. Like honestly, I think that like Bloodhound's ult making everything black and white plus threat vision is more distracting than just normal playing the game.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm doing it for the speed boost. My ultimate is I can run 30% faster.
Yeah.
That's literally Octane's Q. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't feel worth it, you know? So just completely rework the ult, quite frankly.
Yeah, I'd probably honestly put Bloodhound in F if it weren't for the fact that there was Survey Beacon. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd agree with that. All right, Catalyst. I feel
Actually,
like
you asked me what I would do. You know, it'd be kind of sick, which this might be a little oppressive. I don't know if they would ever add this to Apex. Siphoning. You kill someone, you regain health. That'd be kind of crazy.
well, it's kind of what they did with Revenant, right?
Revenant.
Which
Yeah, but
was
not like adding an extra health. Like you kill them, your shields are full back.
what
The
about
whole thing, not your ult shield, but your actual shields.
like
So
your
it stays that way. It's not temporary.
I would be interested if it was just HP. I feel like it'd be less
I feel like
oppressive.
HP would still suck though, because like what if you just don't
What if
get
you just don't get
cracked,
cracked?
Then it's
and
like
then your ult is useless.
yeah, I would say like I guess for like not being oppressive, that would be I feel like it would be a little bit more aligned with their like
Hey,
lore, but I don't
yeah,
know.
we say that stuff, but also like look at what they did with supports this season. They're talking about not being oppressive. Just make everybody oppressive. We're gonna do this.
I don't know that I think they just don't want to scan meta again. I think they're just
Which
scared of it, which
honestly,
I
But that's
get.
the
I'm on
thing.
board.
I don't feel like a siphon would necessarily bring us back to a scan meta because
No.
Bloodhound scan still is like it's
Yeah.
good, but it's not that great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree.
Anyway.
For Catalyst, I think that's a pretty easy A tier.
Yeah, I think Cat's
I'd
A.
agree.
Definitely above Bang in my opinion. I think that Cat is I I think Cat is the second best legend for rotations, and the fact that you have console, really valuable. I think she definitely sees an increase in value when you go to E District. I think Storm Point, there's a pretty big fall off. Aside from like there are those open crosses, but yeah, I think Cat's somewhere decently into A tier. I think once you get to like, I think there's like the 3 staples of the meta, and then there's just a lot of like you could sub them out legends, which is, I think those legends are the ones that are definitely like the A tier
Gonna be like the A
as
tier
we
one.
get into it.
The reason.
Like,
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say I don't think Burke is gonna like what I would be able to say, but I think I would go with Cat being as the best controller legend right now.
Yeah,
That's what I would say. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
we'll
Burke
talk
would
about
like
it.
that.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah, see,
about
like, Jay's
it.
about to say absolutely, but I know Burke's
Yeah,
saying
yeah, I would
So-
agree. Honestly, I think the biggest appeal to Cat is the fact that if you had to pick a controller legend, just pick Cat, and she can get you ring console immediately. And
Yeah,
she's versatile. She can play edge or zone.
so I will say that for one very specific reason, I will maybe concede, and only because when we get to it,
We'll
we can
have that
explain
debate
some
when we get
context.
there,
We'll
'cause
get
I
there.
know
We'll
who
get
it's
there.
gonna be
Yeah,
about.
Where
yeah,
it's
we'll
our
talk about it.
second last
Yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll save some of that discussion for there.
Well, actually, no. Why don't we just?
we can
Watson
do it now.
right
Okay, we'll do it
We're
now.
talking about it.
Yeah.
Okay,
'cause,
so
like, we're here.
So we were trying, Jumba and I have been doing scrims, and we're going to be doing BLGS together, surprise. And we've been running a Wattson for a while, and the problem was, and I admitted for being completely wrong about this, was that we were running Wattson in place of Gibby as a substitute to Gibby. And I think that there is a maybe niche, very niche, like hard zone scenario in which Wattson can be very valuable, and I would definitely put her in A tier. But I will concede that she's lower than Cat for one reason, which is that if you are putting if you're putting a controller legend on your team, I don't think you get rid of the Gibby to do that. And I think that's the problem that we had, is we're subbing, like, if you're gonna run a zone comp with Wattson, you could, like, we were running Newcastle Path Wattson and swapping the Gibby out. I think the reason that Cat is really valuable is because Cat replaces the Pathfinder, not the Gibby.
Which is funny. We played one game with that comp, Gibby, Newcastle, and then Cat, because I accidentally selected. So we did play that comp.
Yeah, we did.
Once. I don't even remember how we did.
I have no clue.
Like, I've seen that comp come up a lot more, and I would agree with you in that sense that, like, yeah, I think maybe the thing is that we don't swap out the Gib. However, I think that Cat can if you wanted to still keep the Pathfinder for the recon scan and you wanted a controller legend, I think Cat has a lot of a higher ability of being able to swap out that Gib than the Wattson does. The Gibby ults, like, defending against those are very difficult. Like, that's what our biggest issue has been whenever we tried to play a different character that wasn't Gibby. We tried Lifeline, we tried Cat, we tried Maggie, we tried Rampart once, and we were always getting kind of like just dumped on by Gibby ults.
Yeah.
So, like, that is like the big thing that, like, that Wattson does, it counters those Gibby ults. But I still think that Cat, because of her wall, holding down buildings, all that stuff, I don't know. In my eyes, I think she's actually still a little bit better than Wattson.
I just feel like if you hit a Cat wall, like, what's to stop a Gibby just like throwing a bubble halfway through it and then just walking through anyway?
It also too, like, well, there's that, but, like, do you have to think about, like, how they get stunned from the cat wall? Like, you cannot see anything, and then also too, cat wall in endgame goes crazy. It literally
But
does.
you can't
If
stop
you have the
Gibby
ability-
all. If you don't have a
It
Gibby,
doesn't, yeah, but if you cut off half, if you have the ability to cut off half the zone and you're just on your side, and especially if you have, like, you're in a late game zone where it's small, if you just have your Newcastle either mobile queue or put down thing, you should be able to, like, heal through it because no one should be on your side. And then you're trying to cut them off. Like, again, it's situational, but I think it's crazy.
I don't know. I think you died in an end zone without a Gibby or a Wattson. I think, and like, if you don't have a Gibby,
What do you mean?
I think if
Newcastle wall.
Newcastle wall is not going to stop a Gibby all.
Yeah, it does. You could just hug it.
If you hug it and
It
you have a
depends how
really
many- it
perfect
depends
queue,
how
You hug the wall. You place a queue. You're safe.
you do still like it's not as effective obviously as
Guys, I'm telling you, you get it in Newcastle, you hug it, you place a Q right between you and the wall. There is a sliver in which a missile can fit through. It doesn't fit. You can, and if Jumbo scenario, you have a full cat wall defending your entire half of the zone, and no one's pushing you. All you have to do is just not get hit by that.
But you have nothing to stop someone from pushing it at that point. At that, if I know that,
What do you mean? Hold
well,
on.
they're not because they're not going to run
Cat
it through their own thing.
Cat
Yeah.
cues.
Yeah,
They're not gonna, and they're also not gonna run through their own Gibby ult. Like if they do, they're gonna drop a bubble for you. So, like the end game situation I'm talking about. But
This
funny enough-
is just this is such
Yeah.
a niche situation. Cat is I would argue Cat is better than Wattson purely for the fact that she's versatile.
okay.
Wattson, you have to play a very specific
Yeah,
play
you're
style.
playing zone.
And in that play style, I do think she is better than Catalyst. But Catalyst can play on edge. She has, I think, way better utility in the end game.
All right, I'll concede that. And so I would put Wattson personally between Bang and Cat.
I would take Bang over Wattson still.
All right, Jumbo tiebreaker. You take it. You won't hurt my feelings, I promise.
I take Bang over Wattson.
No.
Versatility
lied,
is
I
king,
lied. You hurt
comp,
my
man.
feelings.
There's just sometimes where you don't get to play the way you want, you know.
That's
Yeah.
that's
I
fair.
might be, I might be biased against Wattson now, and like I don't want to put a lot of blame on it, but like we had a couple scrims.
We had
where he
some-
goes
we had
straight
some
on the
stinkers,
Wattson,
yeah.
and, like I was starting to not.
Yeah.
I
starting to
think-
not like how I felt with that.
Yeah.
When you can play Wattson correctly, I think Wattson is one of the most oppressive characters in the game. She is so utterly broken.
Yeah.
It's just the problem is you don't. It's a battle royale. You don't always get to play the way you want. So
Yeah.
The thing I liked about her the most, honestly, was actually like having the ability to just like the shield. Like I was playing Path, not being able to just pop one cell and get 50 HP. Like the shield, getting that back was really good. And then on top of that, like I was freely able to poke, so I was able to build Evo way easier when we were playing Wattson than when we were playing other characters. But we're also getting to purple if we take one fight. So yeah, that's my point.
I want to see a
You
hard
guys-
zone team run
Watson.
Gibby, Newcastle, Wattson. That's what I
I
want
want
to
you guys
see.
to know, I
There's no hard
literally
feelings.
just witnessed on Rambo's stream with Timmy and Design in a scrim them dodging a Gibby ult with Newcastle wall on Q. Just saying.
I know it could be done. I know.
I'm just saying you're literally like standing in a corner while that happens. You're giving all
but
the
in
rest of the
proposed
space to
scenario, Jumbo
somebody.
was saying you don't have the Gibby because you have a cat wall up in endgame. So like as long as you're not being literally pushed on, you can do it.
I'm just saying if I see that team happening, I'm walking through. I'm tanking the little
But
like
you don't see it
stuff
happening
thing.
because the wall's already up, and
But
now they see the thing and they have to do it.
In
and so-
comp, they know what that team comp is. They're gonna know you're not running it, and they're just gonna peek over,
bigger problem-
drop a mobile shield, and then just like have your side again.
it's
The
not a
bigger
one v
problem
one
is
though.
actually multiple Gibby ults. The bigger problem is actually
sure.
I'm not saying you can't dodge it, but once you get hit with your third Gibby ult in a row, which has happened to us, then after I'm like,
Yeah.
this is fucked.
That was a very unfortunate game to get hit with 3 Gibby ults, but that is what it is.
But at
All
that
right.
point, the only thing that would stop it is Wattson. Even Gibby, his bubble's not gonna last 3 Gibby ults. You know?
That's
Which
true.
is
It's true.
Which is
Okay, so Caustic. I've seen some teams try Caustic. I just don't see the value other than maybe denying like playing in the bubble. But at this point, you pop one syringe and you can just tank the entire Caustic ult.
Good point.
I'd
So
put
like,
Caustic C tier personally.
yeah, I think
I
that
was
like
thinking-
the support buffs really, really nerf the benefit of Caustic.
Which is crazy because back in old Gibby meta, when I saw this Gibby meta come back, I was like, oh shit, Caustic might return because you know what? Get that Caustic gas, throw it in the bub, like you take. But like it hasn't happened, and I think the syringe thing you're talking about was probably a big factor. That I'll take C. That's fine. I wouldn't. have any other
Also,
pick.
I think with Caustic, one of the biggest problems has been the fact that Newcastle's wall can zap stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not as easy. Like it makes it a little harder when it comes to the equation of getting your ult onto the team.
Yep.
Do you guys
Because sometimes they might have already just placed it with Newcastle wall, and that energized lasts forever, bro. So
should we? I don't know if we want to do Newcastle now, but like
Just put
should
him in S, bro.
Newcastle. He's overpowered. But should Newcastle have that ability on his wall? Like, doesn't it just feel so weird that like
It's
like,
the only
that
reason it's
was, like,
good though.
I know, but it was like that was like Watson's like key factor of her like ult, and you're just giving him like a slightly less effective version of her ult, like, but like it's still effective enough that you can run him without her, and like it's really good.
I think the biggest problem is not that it exists. I think the directional like grenade denial is good, but I think the fact that you can't skynade it or like very well, like I don't you can I think if you get it like really steep angle on it, but like the area of which it denies projectiles is pretty tall, and if they just like reduce the height of it, I think that it would be a lot more balanced of an ult.
I think if they reduce the height and just the duration, it lasts so freaking long.
Well, yeah,
Like-
with the upgrade it's 3 minutes, but like
Yeah,
interesting
which
enough,
is
I didn't think
crazy.
I didn't think a lot of pros would take it, but there's a lot of pros taking the regen one, right?
It depends on what you're
regen one-
running. I take the regen if you're not running a Wattson. If you're running a Wattson, you take the duration.
Well, it's also like if you're playing edge, like you don't need the 3 minutes, right? Because like you're gonna be slamming walls and then moving.
Right.
The regen one still confuses me. There's been some times you slammed it, Burke, and then like I don't get heals, and then there's times that you do slam it and I do, and like it has something to do with like being knocked. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
All I know is sometimes I start getting HP. I thought it wasn't gonna be that good when I tested it because like I understood it was only 15 seconds from when it first drops. But I remember watching a scrim, and I want to say, funny enough, it was 100 Thieves, and like they slammed it at one point, and they were able to full reset like so easy because they picked up a revive.
It lasts
both
30
their-
seconds now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, the electrified base is 30 seconds. That's what I'm saying. It's so long, dude.
Oh,
30
no.
seconds in comp is forever.
The electrified base, I think, is a minute, and then
2
it
minutes.
Goes up to, yeah, it goes up to 3 minutes, even longer. I was talking
Oh my
15
gosh.
seconds just for the regen.
Oh,
the-
yeah,
the
yeah.
Oh.
shield regen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like a minute or like a minute and a half, and then goes
Yeah.
up to 3 minutes.
Also,
Yeah,
the
that's
fact that
crazy.
like I mean, just
Long.
for a small caveat that like I don't think a support legend can go to F tier this season, even Mirage, which we'll get to, but like just because
Yes, he can. Yes, he can.
the amount
We're
to
talking about
which
competitive Apex, Berg.
okay,
Oh,
Comp.
yeah.
okay,
Comp.
yeah, I get it, but anyone above below in D or F is not getting played. It's just like not getting played and like never
right
seen.
now. Do we want to talk about Mirage right now? He doesn't offer literally. He can't hit ring console. He can't hit survey beacon. The only benefits he gets as a support is the fact that he heals that stuff himself faster
And the
like-
regen on the revive.
and the regen. But it's like a Mirage res in comp is so.
You're right.
hard to
I've
pull
seen
off.
teams. Every time I've had a couple of Mirages in ranked, and I'm like, this dude's doing nothing in this fight. I already know it. Yeah, I can see that immediately. You're right. You're right.
And also, these are the best players in the world. If they're getting bamboozled, all three of them, just pray in a straight line, bro. You'll
I
find it
cannot.
eventually.
I'm so mad. I get why they don't want a Mirage to ever be like even remotely decent, but it makes me like so mad that they just haven't given him just like make it so you can't tell that like when he ults. Why do we need to be able to instantly know who's who? I've never gotten fooled by an ult. You see the like little glowing dots on the main one.
Yeah.
Like
Wait,
that's
really?
yes.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
the alt fools me, but I put so little care into it. When I see a
Yeah.
Mirage, I just don't care.
It's
But
instant.
even the
Like
thing with the ult,
I
like
just
usually,
I just quickly shoot around, or I just pay attention to like when like he hits his ult. I usually can tell which way he runs.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, that's what I was
thing.
gonna say. You can usually kind of just
Like,
tell
I'm
where they're
already
gonna
knowing what
go
the left-
based on
yeah.
what the smart play would be.
yeah, exactly. Like yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
y-
all right,
Mirage-
I'll
in,
see
in
that, I'll see
competitive,
that.
Mirage is F.
Yeah. Okay.
He-
I'll continue.
I would maybe take him over Ballistic purely for the fact that you can do the shield cell
Support
thing,
stuff, yeah.
but other than that, he's F.
Yo, Gibby Bubble.
And that's the thing.
Gibby
like,
Bubble,
any-
just Mirages all bubble peeking you at the same time.
No.
Just imagine 6 of them just peeking different angles at you from the bubble. Which one is it?
as soon as he shoots a bullet, you just don't.
Yeah.
really care with the
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I just to if anyone is somehow not sure why Newcastle is S tier, do either of you just want to give the really quick synopsis above what we've already said?
Can you
Uh,
list his abilities quick? I don't
He's
think you
one
can,
of the
'cause
most
it's too
broken
long.
characters in the game. His little Q is now impenetrable. It takes 0 damage. His wall can zap nades forever, and you can also slam people and stun them as if they got stunned by a Maggie ball. And you can break doors and other Newcastle ults with it. When he revives you, obviously you come back with the health thing, but also he is moving with you to pull you behind cover. And they buffed the heals or the health
speed.
of the knockdown shield. So he
Knockdowns,
has
and they
more
buff
health
his
on
speed,
knockdowns.
He can move
And
really
they
fast.
buff the speed so he can zoom around a corner with you. He's genuinely one of the most broken characters in the game. Plus he's a support, so he has all the benefits of support where he can heal himself faster, or not faster. He gets
He
the
gets the old
extra
gold
boost.
perk. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
the
move
extra
faster
boost with
while
the
healing. You
shield.
get extra.
move
Yeah.
faster while healing, more
yes.
health heals when it comes to syringes and shield cells. It gives you double the effect. He's legitimately one of the most broken
When you
characters in the
revive
history
the
of the game.
player you revive gets a regen ability.
Yeah,
Like
they get
they
full
regen
health.
up to 100. So like, and especially if you give that guy gold knock, you literally need to pop. Like if he revives another support character, 1 cell, non-support character, 2 cells, and like
Yep.
you are full reset now.
I want to
Yeah.
say, I think that the biggest thing that they could do to fix a Newcastle that would make him not the 100% pick rate, right? The one thing that I think they need to do is make it so that Newcastle wall, when dropped, does not break Newcastle wall. It is insane to me that this is a thing that I've always hated about like legend balancing in this game is that they always make it so that the only counter to a legend is the legend themselves. Catch, I think that Catalyst should not be able to walk through enemy cat floors. I think Caustic should take damage to enemy caustic gases. The fact that you do those means that when someone else is playing against you, you just have to play the same character, and that's just dumb to me. I don't know. That's a beef that I've always had.
But characters, for the most part, don't counter themselves. They just even the playing field. A counter is taking what you do and
Like
completely
flipping it on you.
overcoming.
You're right,
it.
right.
Yeah. Like, for example, Maggie used to counter Gibby because you could bubble and I can destroy your bubble.
Right.
That is countering you.
Right.
Gibby doesn't counter Gibby because he can't remove his own
Right.
abilities.
I guess like
or specifically.
Yeah, but it's like but like in the Newcastle sense, it does counter it because you can just drop your wall on the other wall, and it's like the fact that that's the only thing that can instantly destroy a Newcastle wall means that there's no reason to run anyone else. I think that an obvious fix would just to make it so that Maggie ball doesn't get zapped. That's an obvious counter pick. That's big. Like, that's niche. Like you shouldn't have to just like make it so one thing ignores the rules.
Is even when it doesn't get zapped, like when the zap's gone, the Maggie ball doesn't do enough damage to break any part of the wall.
Yeah,
I think it should.
It should just destroy the whole wall, in my opinion, or at least make a big area of the wall destroyed. Like it's kind of crazy that like
three of the little things or like one of the big ones.
Because I think I saw it work once, and it went through just one of those little panels, and I'm like, that's it. That's a wrecking ball. That's a like.
And if it did go through the panel, that means they also shot it beforehand. Because once again, full health, it doesn't do enough damage.
Yeah. So Newcastle only one to counter Newcastle. I think if they just made it so that you couldn't put it where the former someone else's Newcastle wall is, like it doesn't lock on there, I think that's an easy fix to that solution. But that's
hot take: Maggie Q go through knockdown shields. I said it. I said it.
It's not even a hot take.
I would love to see it stick on knockdown shields. That would be
stick in there and burn through.
Yep.
I think I was in Greek's chat. I saw someone talking about that. And I was like, that'd be really cool. When that
That'd be
fucking
good.
Newcastle is zooming away, you shoot a Q at him with that thing sticking there. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Now, real quick, we don't have to go through too big of a rabbit hole, but where like a lot of people have said this, like because like there's so many like sort of almost like passives that it feels like he has, and we've had other characters that have like the long list of passives. Where do you think he is the most broken character in the game like that we've ever seen, or do you think that I feel like everyone's kind of got that consensus that OG Seer or that OG Watts or Horizon?
I was gonna say, like, are we saying the most broken legend, like, put them all against each other now, or just like in their metas, like how dominant they were in their specific metas?
See, that's a good question, because like the thing is, my big reason is why no, he's not the most broken legend we've ever seen is because if you took all the legends and put them at their peak, then like it's Seer, because Seer counters him, right? Seer would stop that revive all day long. So like I feel like that's why I'd still take Seer as that number one.
Which I do think they should bring back. I think they should just give. I don't think they should change anything else about Seer. I think they should just give him a revive cancel on his Q. Not heal cancel, just revive cancel. Imagine in this meta. Just imagine in this meta, right? You got the Lifeline reses, you got Newcastle reses. Imagine a Newcastle is resing right there. You just stop him, and he just like for a second has to just stand up, and like he can restart it. And now the Q's been there, but like he's got that like second where you can just do like 80 damage. If you're all three looking at him, you could kill him. But like it adds a level of vulnerability. Like he still has his knockdown. You have to, or you can use that Q, right? If you have your mobile shield, that's great. You still have your mobile shield there, but like.
I would hate to see
just for a second
come back, but
they can't add that cancel again. If they add the cancel, he instantly overrules the meta. Like I legitimately believe if you add the cancel back, Gibby and Newcastle are not played in the meta anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, because I think you
And once again, this is in competitive. In
Yes, in competitive.
that ability to cancel was so strong
It was
that it
nuts.
completely killed the Gibby meta. It completely
Yeah.
killed it because all they have to do is just time it correctly, take space, time it right. You're dead. Because, like you said, that 1 second, that's when they kill you.
But at that time, the reason it was bad was because you were in a Gibby bubble, and now you no longer have the duration of the Gibby bubble to res. So like,
But it still stuns you. Remember, you can't instantly do it. You can't instantly get back on the revive.
right. So you might lose that player, right? But I think also at the same time, if you have a mobile shield, it's just stalling them for them to be able to push up. I don't know that it's as oppressive as it used to be during that meta as it is now. With you have like lifelines that can just, you can just tap them again. You have the Gibby. Yes, I think it would nerf Gibby a lot more, but like the Newcastle, I think if you're playing cover correctly, it would just encourage them to have to play cover correctly again, or have to use their mobile shield more intuitively, rather than just running in the open and getting the pull away res that you could do now.
I'm telling you, I think it would completely invalidate the Newcastle. Honestly,
I think it definitely, yeah, it would depend on the balancing. I think it would depend on the balancing.
because as long as that length in which you cannot restart the res is long enough, if they can make sure that you cannot get that character back up and it is still a 3v2, what is the point?
Yeah, that's
why
fair.
even play reset characters at that point? Why not just play something super aggro so you win the fight instead?
Yeah.
That's why we shifted into such an aggro meta,
No, that's fair. So I guess we just move on. Conduit. Thoughts on Conduit? I think this is probably the fourth best support legend right now.
In comp, I would put her B.
Yeah, I think she's like solid. I think she's solid. The fact that you can just give your teammates shields is still a really good thing. The Conduit's the only one of them that like is focused on in a fight making sure they don't go down. I guess Lifeline kind of does it, but like I don't know. I think she's solid. I think on the right team, she can make sense.
I just put her B because there are still some contests that can exist in the game, and she is the contest character.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, she's the contest character because, like you said, like being able to give health, but like especially like if you're still running a double support. Like my problem with Conduit is like,
Actually, I put her C. Sorry. Not to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. I like B actually still, but like I was just gonna say, like my thing with Conduit is that I feel like even when I do get that HP, anytime I've played with a Conduit, I'm always popping a cell or like bat like 20 to 30% into me having that shield, that it's kind of wasted. The only time it matters is literally if I'm shooting someone and I'm getting that HP come my way.
Yeah, I think in like in pro play, that's like a difference maker in fights, right? That's the reason people were so like startled when Conduit took over the meta for that period, is because it's just like the ability to not have to tuck back between cover, not have to like imagine in a bubble fight, you rip a Conduit Q, you hit with the Mastiff, you get hit with the Conduit Q, you poke right back out. Like that's like the difference from you going down.
That's what I was gonna say. See though, it is incredibly slow now.
It is. I haven't felt it out as much in terms of its speed nowadays.
It's pretty slow. So like if you're gonna poke back out when someone cues you, maybe got like a sell off.
Yeah.
20, like a little bit. You have to, if you're purple or red armor, you got to wait a good amount for it to go up.
Yeah.
So
now picture this. You rip the Lifeline, Conduit, Revenant, and you just Voltron the whole thing. You just got Revenant in the front. You're just juicing him the whole time. Just have him 1v3 everybody. Just, he's got the Revolt. He's got the Conduit Q.
I suggested that. I think someone told me that like it doesn't work on Revs anymore when they have their ult on.
Oh, that's cringe. It's cringe.
There's some sort of interaction where they sort of nerf that because they realize you could do raid boss Rev. They don't want it to happen.
The closest I got to a 4K was when I was playing a Pathfinder and somebody just ran they were Conduit Lifeline randoms and they just juiced me the whole game. That was the best day of my life. All right. Here we go. Crypto. I think I think he is like one of the most underrated characters right now. I think people just don't want to play him. I honestly just think people don't want to play him.
No, because you say that, but everybody played him last LAN. If he was so good, they would play him.
I think
here's
that
the thing too. Here's the ultimate counter. What you're saying, Think about how many players are crypto crutches and they're not playing him.
We just had a crypto team. Who was it that just won a scrim day? Was it? It was one of the APAC North teams, I think, that
It was
just won a.
Oakley. It was Crazy Raccoon.
Yeah, with crypto, and this meta, and I think
Okay,
they
if
were
you wanna ar-
running
if you wanna
Newcastle
argue based
Path.
on winning one scrim block, I could point to like North Eption when they used to run Newcastle back during like Seer Horizon meta, and they
True,
would crush it in scrims, and then they
true.
couldn't make it to a finals lobby.
I think
I'm not
that
saying that Oakley is of that
Yeah.
caliber. Oakley's won a land, so no disrespect to that man. Just saying.
I think if you hit I think on the right, it's kind of like what we're saying. Like I think all the A tier legends are just counter meta options that are still really viable. And I think that there is a lot of room for a Newcastle Path crypto, or like probably a little less so, but like a Gibby Path crypto. I think there's a lot of room to run that comp. And I think the fact that you can hit Survey Beacon so easily from anywhere into late game, and the fact that you can use it for Evo, but also just for information on rotates, especially with the amount of edge teams there are, and to be able to kind of play for like ring 3, play a little bit more towards like flex zone play. I think that there's a lot of availability. Also, the invisibility still pretty solid. It, like, obviously you're not getting away with the rat plays you got away with in Split 2 in Mannheim, but like
That's why the invisibility was so good.
Right. It's definitely not the
So-
same level of value, but you're getting rid of the gen, so you could also partner with like a Maggie to be able to to immediately be able to get a Maggie queue on a Newcastle wall setup. Like you can't use it to get rid of bubble, but you can use it as an entry for like a bubble fight to knock shields to give you that advantage. It definitely is it is nerfed by the fact that you can heal as quickly as you can as a support legend, but I do think that there is still a pretty good amount of value as an entry. Maybe top of B could be an argument, but I definitely think A is a consideration for crypto.
Okay.
I'd put him lower because I think you're underrating the fact that in a double support meta, Gibby Newcastle, the time, because you don't want your teammates in the EMP. And so all they have to do is pop a Newcastle Q or a Gibby bubble to force you to get literally in their face. And you have to wait for the EMP to go off, then cross into their domain. And by that point, they have ripped a cell and they are full health. The EMP is completely neutralized.
Yeah. The three things that made crypto really broken is information, which I'd say for like a standpoint, the fact that he can still hit those beacons, he still gets that, he throws out, he sees the people in the area, and that he can just sit in a spot and like scan around and see everything around him. His information, like gathering abilities, has relatively stayed the same, and that's really strong and a super valuable thing for comp. One of the most important things is the invisibility. The fact that he can't, like, his drone will get ticked to storm now and take damage and break, like, not that's an issue. So I like, that he's not as good as he used to be there. So I think the invisibility, not just that you can't see him and everything like that, it loses a ton of value because he can't stretch it into storm. And plus, even trying to hit those beacons if they're in storm and everything like that, he might not get it off now like he used to be able to. And then the last thing was his ult. His ult changed the trajectory of fights so much because they would stun teams 50 damage, and you have your two teammates swing in. But like in a meta where he would have been so strong if he could break those Gibby domes, those
Yeah.
mobile queues from Castle and everything like that. The fact that he can't now, I think makes him hot ass. Like seriously. Like that was like the biggest thing. Like imagine like you see a bunch of Newcastle walls, mobile queues, and domes, and one crypto ult breaks them all. You can't do that anymore. So your team can't push as easy. I don't know what tier I'd put him in. It sounds like Jay's putting him towards C.
No, I
I
said
wouldn't
B.
be oh, you said B? Okay. I would say B then.
Yeah,
I would
I'll be
not
fine
put
with B. I'll concede that.
I would take him over Ash and Conduit
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel
Okay.
like fair.
because his
Okay.
information is still
It's
so
still really
it.
strong.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And there's still the
Yeah.
niche situations where you're getting away with rat plays and stuff like that. Because I mean, if you're in a hectic end game, you're not typically noticing him. I don't think.
Well, but in comp, the problem is like in an end game, there's just so many teams packed in that they will see you. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes those crazy rat plays, they were 3 feet to your right.
Yeah, true.
Feel free on them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like just dead center zone.
That center zone. That was
yeah, like
nuts. That was such a
somebody's
crazy
gonna
random
see.
meta to have.
Yeah.
And you can't just fly the drone into storm. Like those rat plays would happen because they would just take the drone and fly into storm. Like
You're seeing
Like,
that drone.
you're ratting there, and even if they don't see you, they'll shoot the drone.
Yeah.
Also,
Then you're
there's
there.
not- like there's not 100 drones in the area anymore, so there's just literally one drone.
Yeah. Okay, so Fuse. I think Fuse is pretty bad right now. If not for being able to hit ring console, the fact that we talked about the Energize just being crazy long. It does nothing to Gibby bubbles. Fuse ult, maybe some zoning potential. I don't.
Fusel, by the way, does go over the top of Newcastle walls. It doesn't zap it.
Okay, yeah, and that's good, but you tank it with shield cells pretty easily. With Newcastle heal, I think so. I think that Fuse is like C. I don't think that Fuse is that good. Maybe B with ring console, maybe.
Fuse is better than Ash and Conduit. I would put him in B.
What do you think is the value that he provides over them, over Ash specifically? Because I feel like Ash is maybe a more direct, like competitor for that slot.
I think Area of Denial is way more impactful than Ash has of any utility. Like if you a well-placed Fusel on a Newcastle wall team can completely invalidate where they want to be on the wall. It forces them to get away from it.
Who do you think?
Because
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, who do you think you take? Like, who does Fuse like replace on a team?
Pathfinder. I'm not saying to play Fuse in the meta, but like we're in B tier. None of these characters are being played anyway.
That's fair.
So I would take Fuse over an Ash or a Conduit any day of the week.
When I think about it, I would take him over a Conduit, which maybe now I'm thinking maybe move Conduit down. I know
That's why I
have
said I
pushed
think
to
Conduit's
B.
C tier.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
could concede a
like,
C tier for Conduit.
I'm thinking, but like I don't know if I would take him over Ash. But like I also wouldn't play
Here's the
Ash.
thing.
The
when-
console is
when
the
it-
difference maker. I think that might put him above
Ash,
Ash.
here's my thing. Ash moves you, but I feel like Ash, it's almost like why not just play Pathfinder at that point?
Yeah.
So with a Fuse, if you're an incredibly aggressive edge team, you want to talk about bubble fights, just pop one nade inside of the bubble, and now they can't just sit in there
Yeah,
because otherwise they're going to start taking damage. Oh, wait, you have 2 nades. So you can also pop one outside the bubble if you want. You can use the ult to entrap them within a bubble. You can use the ult to make them back off of the wall. Like there is still ways to play Fuse in the current meta. It's not the greatest. Also, like
Does-
Newcastle is rezzing, pop a little nade behind him, pop an ult on top of him so he can't run away from you. There's still ways, right?
yeah, I would
Yeah,
see
I
that. So
like
you'd
that.
say, I'll give that to you above Ash.
Andy, it's ring console, which is like absolutely massive.
Yeah, that is
Ash
a
can't
really.
hit ring console, right?
Yeah, I'll concede that. Okay, Gibby. I mean, obviously, S definitely below Newcastle, right? I think that's like, right.
Hot take, not S, top of A.
I will say the same thing because the thing that makes Gibby S
is
Newcastle.
Newcastle.
If you
Yes.
run Gibby without Newcastle, he's
Yes.
not like great. So it's
Which
like
to me means he's not in that class.
yeah,
he's not of the same
S tier,
tier.
right? 'Cause, like,
Honestly,
Newcastle you run with anyone. What are you doing? A Newcastle tier?
dude, I'm going like A plus here. I feel like he's in a different tier than these other characters. Oh, I just messed something up. Hold up.
Well, that's just like if you're ordering them though. Like that's just why you.
I
put 'em
think
up.
top of
You
A
could
is
do-
fine.
Yeah, like because you could just do top A. I know, like if you're trying to show the distinction that like, yeah, you're gonna play Gibby over over a cat. You really make that distinction, I guess.
I think it's like a 9 times out of 10 you're running, or I would even make the argument maybe you even just knock these two down to D tier, knock these to C, and knock these to B. Because like I honestly think you're 9 times out of 10 not running these characters, and you're running a Gibby and one other character when I get to him.
I mean, if you want to add it to your, I'm not gonna
Oh yeah,
argue
like
too much of
because
it.
I guess I could see like we could put Path A plus as well, right?
Right.
Like it's a
Which I guess
character
we can
you
just
don't-
do that now while we're at it.
Like, I don't know
See,
if we're gonna do
personally,
it,
I'd put Path S.
you put Path A.
I actually
Yeah.
am inclined to agree with you. with
Okay. The
Pathfinder.
only reason, the only reason saying that is because like there are people who are swapping Path out, but my opinion is, yeah, every team we were talking about this earlier. Like my opinion has been like every team should pretty much have 2 characters right now. It's Newcastle Path, and then you throw another one. But, like I've seen people like right now having success with like having a cat instead of a Pathfinder, for example, right? So
Sure.
like if there is a way you can swap it out, where it's like Newcastle's not moving.
I think the only question you ever have it should have about Pathfinder is whether or not to take beacon or console. And I think it is
And I think the thing
and
is 95
not about whether to play them. Yeah.
Everyone's okay. Yeah. And everyone's taking beacon though.
Like yeah, and everyone's taking beacon, but I think that people need to
There are
consider
certain
if you're running a
situations
Gibby Newcastle and you're in the ring, I think you need to swap to console.
No, I mean,
Here's-
like, I don't want to give away our BLGS strats, but I mean to tell you, yes, we need to remember that there is one situation where we do take console if we get it.
Yeah, for
Here's
sure.
my thing with the path. I think you play the path. He's the most versatile character probably right now in the meta
Insane.
because he can give you the rotations. Also, like the rotations up to the balloon are crazy on like World's Edge and stuff like that.
You don't give away our strats.
The survey ring console thing. Like the only time in which I think you swap out the Pathfinder, which is why I think certain teams are doing it, is the same reason why you would play a Wattson, which is I need ring console now. I don't want to have to wait for blue.
Yeah,
And
like a
that's- we're
landslide. Like
rotating
you're not playing Path
quickly.
on a landslide.
Yeah, and usually with that playstyle too, you might not necessarily need his zip ever because you're probably trying to play God Spot immediately.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that like we see Pathfinder being replaceable, but I don't think that necessarily brings him down from S because I think it's such a specific reason to not play him that is understandable.
And honestly, at that point, you're sometimes even discussing whether that's even the Pathfinder you're replacing. Like it might not even always be the Pathfinder that you replace. Like I agree that Gibby is like the synergy with Gibby and Newcastle is insane, but there's some times where it's like maybe the Gibby's the one you have to replace in some of those situations.
Mhm.
Yeah, actually, I was curious because because I was watching Falcons Day, they were succeeding so much. I want to see if they were playing anything different on certain on certain maps. Because they're playing cat on all of them, but like the thing is on
Where are they
Storm Point,
landing?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look, but I was gonna say like at the very least on Storm Point, cat makes sense for them because they were landing mill, and like you don't need like that
You got a
Pathfinder
car.
zip because you have a car.
Yeah.
That's literally what I was looking for to see if they're using path on those other maps. They're not, so I'd have to look why. But because I'm not swapping. Like I remember when I was watching this and I was thinking about it, I was like, well, the reason I would never swap cat for path, especially on a lot of maps, because like you can't take high ground like as easy.
Yes.
So
You're leaving your team. Like that was another thing. Like a lot of people were talking about Valk, and we'll get to that a little bit. But like in the beginning of this like these patches, everyone was running Valk, and I'm like, this is not nearly as valuable as Pathfinder. Like, how is everyone running this? And to give context, why you should be running Path is like the charge zip. You're not killing some off charge zip. The only way you're doing that is if they're literally going straight in a line to you, so that there's no way you could possibly miss a shot. And even then, you all three probably need to be shooting this person to knock them. Like insane.
District, they were landing slums, which is a no-name POI. I don't even know if it's.
Did they
called
lose a draft or something?
They must have. I don't know. They had
That's
a mill
insane.
on one. But
Well,
like,
if they got
had-
mill, they probably got it at the beginning
Yeah,
of the
probably
first
got
round.
Yeah. You're getting-
like slums is a no-name.
It's a
POI
no-name.
outside stadium.
Yeah.
With literally
Nothing.
It has nothing. Anyways.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll stick with S. We can.
Yeah.
Keep rolling.
Also, just like you're getting Evo like crazy. Every time you hit a survey beacon, you're getting 50% of your ult. Every care package you scan, you're getting 50% of your ult, which means that
Shouldn't
by the
you
time
don't
Ring
tell
1
me on
closes,
path.
you've had ult at least twice. At
You
least
don't gotta
twice.
Tell me on path. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
love
insane.
Path
Yeah.
a lot.
Okay, Horizon. Hot take. I think Horizon's actually not too bad. I was actually just talking Anmu on my last episode, and he actually thought Horizon was pretty good. I'm not going to argue that she's A tier, but I would say probably like mid to top B, maybe mid B. I think she's got some definite viability, if at the very least top C. But I think B tier probably, especially like if Lifeline was getting played more, I would say she would be definitely B tier, maybe even A tier if like Lifeline was hard meta right now with the just complete open space at the top. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on Horizon?
I'd put her over Ash and B.
Oh, I was thinking C because like her Q is just so slow now. Like she's got a lot of that aggressive ability, but like like the whole like way you use her ult is you queue up, you throw ult and then you throw nades, and if someone has a Newcastle wall, like doesn't it eats the Ash ult too? So it's like you can't.
It depends on the angle.
Depends on the angle.
Yeah,
So
it's like
if you
it's
like
so
send them above and then you drop the ult, you have to probably drop the ult a little later, to be honest. But
My
just think
thing
it's so
with why I would take her
specific
over an
to
Ashe is I
Valve.
feel like she can completely disrupt a bubble fight. I don't think Ashe can do that.
does it pull them out of bubble? Can it pull someone out of a bubble?
Not even necessarily if it pulls them out. Like if they're in the bubble, just put it inside, stick
Yeah.
them in there, and just start chucking nades in there.
True.
And then it's so hard for them to get away from the bubble. And if they're using like mastiffs, are they gonna kill it fast enough? You know what I mean? Like, so I would put her probably over an Ashe personally in comp.
Yeah, I definitely think somewhere in B feels right.
Okay.
This next one I think is another potentially controversial one. I think Lifeline is almost as good as Gibby. Like I think almost as good as Gibby.
No.
The fast healing, the massive walls, the fact that you can self like the res that Lifeline provides is like if you ever lose your Newcastle, if your Newcastle isn't the last one up for any reason, you just pop. Now you have a way to get him up and stay in the fight as well. So you have
But
like
that's the thing. In comp, like when Newcastle res is just safer, so you're probably gonna run Newcastle anyway. So like
right.
I feel like she's redundant.
What?
I like her. I'll say this: I like her as a low A. Like I wouldn't put her close to Gibby. I like her as a low
I'd put her
A.
top B.
But think about the benefits that Gibby provides, and like she just provides slightly
But
worse
here's the
versions
thing:
of them.
if she's but that's the problem. The two of the top meta characters, she's kind of redundant for them. So why would you ever play her? Like all of the AT characters, we're talking about these characters are being played. She will probably almost never be played.
I think
Like
her.
one or two teams, maybe.
I would argue like her end zone control is really solid. I think that
But that's the thing. Why not just play Gibby at that point? He also has a bubble, and he has an ultimate that is oppressive and aggressive.
Yeah, I think you do run into a problem where Gibby ults and like you don't have cover from Gibby ults.
Her biggest thing was the Gibby ults.
Yeah, I could see low A probably. I think just the fact that she's a support and then her ults pretty good, like really
But
good.
here's the thing: do y'all think comp teams are going to be playing her?
I think there will be one
see
or two
some run
teams.
her,
I
but they
think two
should
or
not.
one or two. But this is the thing: is like 16 of 20 teams are going to be running Gibby, Newcastle, Pathfinder, and then it's just going to be like
they're at the
they're
top.
either going to run. The rest of them are either going to run Cat, Bang, Wattson, Crypto, or Maggie or Lifeline, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I feel like the other ones we named are more like viable flex options. Like 5 or 6 teams could be running these. Lifeline, it's like maybe one team,
Okay,
maybe two.
so top of
So I
B.
feel like she's top B around where crypto is. Like I could see a couple teams trying it, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's like actually viable to where a lot of teams are going to because she feels so redundant to Newcastle and Gibby.
Yeah,
And
I
those
do
two
think Gibby
characters
ult is a
also-
direct counter to it, which is
and
really
the Gibby ult,
unfortunate.
if everybody's playing Gibby, her ult sucks. Like,
Yeah.
it's you guys know firsthand it was bad.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, the tough thing is I'm trying to think. Like I'm trying to think of comp. And
Lifeline
obviously, a
Wattson
lot
would
of,
go
like,
really
what
strong.
I've been doing, and like I just
then
don't
that's the
know.
thing.
I
But then
feel
you
like
know,
I
you're
playing-
almost enjoyed. I was just saying, I think I almost enjoyed playing Lifeline more than I liked playing Wattson. I'm also not a pro, so like
Yeah,
Just think about the comps though, because like okay, if you play her in place of Gibby, well then Gibby ults are going to destroy you. Okay, you're not dropping Newcastle, so then are you dropping Pathfinder? But then you have no movement. Are you? And then you said Lifeline Wattson to try to counter a Gibby, but then who's your third? Newcastle. You have no movement. Like what? It's just. And you don't have the Gibby itself, so like you can't oppress in terms, or you can't aggress for your own bubble fights. Like there's so many things you sacrifice
Yep.
for someone who's kind of redundant.
Yep. On to Loba. I'll put Lifeline top B. On to Loba.
Yeah.
I think Loba is probably D tier. I want Loba to be better, but realistically, the loot pool is there's so much loot in the game nowadays that like you really don't need her. And to be honest with you, like even zone teams don't really need her. And like
And Cells got buffed by sports.
Cells got buffed by sports, and Loba can't open the like mythic bin. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that I don't know if she applies to the gold bin or not. I don't know if that one works or not. Like she's really not providing enough value with the new stuff that's been introduced. Like if she could open the mythic bins, there would definitely be a little bit more value there, because at the time where mythic pins are spawning, it's a pretty risky time to go for something like that. That like I could see a value of like, oh, we're gonna all get our gold guns out of this mythic pin, and that would be like, that would be pretty good. Like, you know, I'm gonna get a Kraber, and we're both gonna get gold mastiffs out of this like mythic bin that's way in the open, no one can go
Or if
for.
she just pulls one and then it breaks it.
Yeah,
like,
or if she pulls one and it breaks it, and like, yeah, and the fact that that hasn't happened is like kind of a throw. But
I
yeah,
would say that, like, yeah, the biggest thing is, like, I remember when Loba was being played a lot, and I liked her because of the fact that she, like, on a map like World's Edge, I felt like shield loot and everything like that was always, like, very, like, shield economy was always very difficult. I don't know what changed in the last few updates and everything like that, and then also too with the support update. I always feel comfortable on loot now. I rarely
always.
feel like I'm struggling, so once you
Yeah.
do that, it's kind of pointless.
And think about it, when supports are in the meta, those support bins, bro, you're just getting so many more
That's the
heals.
thing,
Yeah.
Like,
right? It's like the support meta, like opening up those bins, you just get so many.
so
Like
many heals.
I don't
was
ever
playing
have bat
Newcastle.
issues, and you don't even
Newcastle.
need bats.
Well, before even the support like
And you
update,
can carry
like
more for some of them.
yeah, but even before the support update, I was running Newcastle and I was running around with like 6 bats, like
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
drop all the time. So yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, D. I agree, D.
I maybe below altar, probably, maybe above Bloodhound, probably.
I don't even.
I would take her below both simply because they can hit Survey Beacon and Ring Console. That's
True.
Yeah, okay,
That's very true.
fair.
They can get your armor up. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is another one that I think is an interesting talking point is Maggie. I think that they said when all this happened, they said Maggie's going to be useless because Newcastle Wall just zaps it away, and the ult and her ball doesn't destroy Newcastle Wall or Gibby Bubble. But I will tell you that the Newcastle or the Maggie Q is so oppressive. It is still so oppressive that like it doesn't even matter that her ult is basically trash. Like her Q is so insanely good that I think, like, for me personally, I think fourth best legend in I think.
You just have to use her in a different way than like she used to be. Like before, like you don't just shoot your Q directly at a wall, but a lot of people are holding buildings where like holding situations where like I'm watching Timmy right now who's sitting in an RV, right? So you can't shoot it at the front. But if you could get an angle on the back of the RV, you just put it on the side of the RV and they can't hold it from there. I watched that happen where the other day Bleed was doing the exact same thing. They're using a Maggie. They were on E District. There's a team in the RV. They couldn't shoot at the front, but Yanya just kept putting it to the right and or I guess they're not bleeding anymore. But anyways, John just kept putting it to the right of the RV, and that team couldn't hold it there. So you just have to use it a different way, and like it's still effective. And then same with the ball. Like you can't throw a ball to break a Gibby ult or a Gibby tack, and you can't throw a ball to like do things like that. But I remember when we were playing. We were winning a lot of fights because if a team tried pushing us, Connor would just throw the ball in their face on them, and then we'd fight it out, and we'd
Yeah,
win.
not to mention like area control and Gibby Bubble, and a lot of times like you get caught out in the open, like a Newcastle team gets caught out in the open if you don't have bubble already, like or even if you're not running a Gibby, which like some teams don't, obviously, you're gonna go for a res and then you're gonna throw that mobile shield down. And how many different times are you like that mobile shield gets hit with the Q and you just have to discard it. You just can't use that
Yeah.
mobile shield anymore. And now you've taken like 50 health and the mobile shield's gone, which means once you get that res up, you don't have it on cooldown and you are and maybe sometimes you're behind cover, but also other times you're not behind cover at that point with the res. So like it's pretty solid.
I don't know about fourth best. Like the biggest thing to me is that like the double shield meta has made it that, like if she puts it on the mobile shield, you just get BQ after that. So like you have that, but I mean she does have two drills, so she does have the second drill upgrade, and it's if you have small bubble, it completely negates your second bubble. So like there
Yeah.
is that. I don't know. I think I'd still take Cat over her. I like Cat better than her, but I can see myself liking her better than a maybe a Bang or a Wattson. I don't know, Jay. What are you thinking there?
Yeah, around that area. I would take Cat over her still personally.
I'll
Yeah.
concede that. I think personally I would take Maggie over, but I can see the argument.
I think it's like straws at this point. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
The reason I would take Cat over her is Ring Console. Like, if you're not
Yeah.
going to run the Pathfinder and you want to get Ring Console immediately, that's just so huge in comp to where Maggie just doesn't offer you that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't. I feel like Catalyst offers more to the zone playstyle of getting ring console immediately than Maggie offers to the edge playstyle of just extra pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
and
the
I
ring
think you
console is
just
crazy.
Yeah. It is.
and I think you just run a Gib. If like you don't
Yeah.
want to run a ring console, you just run a Gib.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I could see that. For Octane, I F tier. I mean, I don't know what
He
you
moves
do.
you. That's
I
Better
think
than- better
I
than
think he's
Mirage.
below Mirage. I think
Better than
he
Mirage.
No,
like
he's better
He
than
moves you,
Mirage.
he
The
moves
ability
you.
to move a team is more valuable than bamboozling.
if they
He's
gave
better than freaking Ballistic.
they
dude.
should they also I think they should give him he should refresh his ultimate when he scans beacons or scans care packages. And then he
This
just
is how
because
bad-
imagine this because if he could scan the two, he drops his pad, he scans the first package, pads to pad, scans the third package, pads. He gets 3 of them. Your team is in a whole different POI.
That would be a cool update. I do, and you know what's funny is like back when that was Pathfinder's like only passive. I used to be like, this is the most bullshit passive. It's ass. But now that like they've like extended the length of his zip and given him the charge zip, now I'm like, okay, this is the best passive
Yeah,
ever. Like
it's
it's so
insane.
good because like I have my ult so often, we could keep moving. So I do think that would help. But this is like my thing about how bad I think Octane is. Back when Octane had like a stint in the meta where it was like Octane, Gibby, like that meta. I think it was Bloodhound was the other one, the Octane Gibby Bloodhound. Octane still, I don't even think
There's also
was the
Rev in there
best.
sometime.
Yeah, very rarely. Like it was Wraith, Gibby, and then Bloodhound, or there's teams like TSM was running Octane, Gibby, Bloodhound.
Yeah,
And I still think Octane was ass in that meta, but people but I
because
think the
it's tap
stereotypes were
strafing
just-
off of the bubble, the thing.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
just
they had
remember it was like
fucking
you could get height right above you because you could just pad and then tap strafe, and now you're on height, and that was like the most broken thing ever. And it was
they
like,
weren't even using it for that. They were using it because of the fact that you could get further and faster than you could with a Wraith ult. I think
Yeah.
the Wraith ult was still safer
Yeah.
because you had control over where you could put it and you could back out if it was a bad ult. Once you commit to an Octane pad, you're committed. It was just like people played it because fucking TSM played it. What happened? It was 2020, and that's how people played it. So that's how bad Octane is. The only time he's ever been meta, I think he was still ass. We don't need to-
I think just because of the fact of support legend, I would put Mirage over Octane, but
What's more
Jay,
valuable,
Jay,
popping a
Jay,
cell or
it's
moving
something
your
to do
team?
with Octane, bro. These guys it's something to do with Octane. We had moreover with Gauntlet being like he likes
Bro,
it. Actually,
what's more
actually,
valuable,
he
moving your
doesn't like
team
the
or popping
Octane
a
bit,
cell?
funny enough.
you're moving your team
Moving
for
your
like
team.
you're just getting bodied and it's loud and it's just like obvious. I don't know. I'll give it to you, but I think I'm just
He's better than Ballistic too, by the way.
no, I'm not. I'm drawing the line on Ballistic, man. You guys
Moving
made
your
me.
team is important.
You made me put my boy in F, and
Ballistic's your boy. He's a
no, I would
old
love to see him
drunk-
good though. We don't know that he's drunk.
we do. He's an alcoholic. We know this from the lore.
Man,
Oh, shit.
I'm not brushed up. Okay.
Anyway,
Rampart. I think Rampart's better than Caustic. I don't think Rampart is great, but I think
She's not B. I wouldn't care if she's in
C.
C.
I'd say top C just because she can counter Newcastle. Honestly, I might even
Yeah.
put her in B just because she can counter Newcastle, but like you're not like you have to really be careful to get that off. Like
Yeah,
to
I'm not
destroy a
pressed
wall
either
with her.
way.
Like
she hits
I'd
ring
maybe go
console.
bottom B just because
turret's really good. You know.
yeah, like you are destroying a Newcastle wall if you're like, and the ult is like insane cooldown right now. Honestly,
Yeah.
I might even argue her a little higher, but I'm fine with putting it there if you guys are.
Well,
more...
I think the changes to Newcastle made her worse. I feel like last meta she was better against Newcastle because now he could just throw his Q and you can't shoot through it.
yeah,
Where previously you
She's
could.
better
You
than-
know.
Look, I think she could be bottom B, top C. Do you think she's better than Ash? Should we be moving Ash down to C?
Yeah, probably.
probably
I think
maybe.
Ash down to C.
I'll be honest. Hear me out. Ash and Horizon C.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that because the thing is like
straight up, I would take a Rampart over Horizon and comp.
I think like there's even an argument you could like I'm not saying put her in A, but I think there's an argument you could run a Rampart. Like you run a Rampart Newcastle and you could literally just sit there and every time a team walls to take a position in end zone, you're just like destroying their wall. Because it doesn't deal with energize. It overcomes the energized part, which is the only thing that protects you.
The only issue I have with that is the abundance of Newcastle Gibby. Like
Gibby's
they have both of them have impenetrable abilities to take space on you, and all of
And
a
then they
sudden
just push, yeah.
And then and now all of a sudden you're with your big turret, which is still great. But imagine a bubble fight. Like it's
Yeah.
no, like you want a mastiff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Was it you guys who proposed the idea of timed rampart walls and not, but they're unbreakable? Did you guys propose that?
That
Or
was
did
not
someone do
me.
that?
I
Death to
I
Rampart. I proposed we
proposed
remove her from the game personally.
I
This
did
guy,
propose that
I
they make
forgot he's a
the
rampart hater.
I did propose they put the bottom part of the wall, make that indestructible, and then just only the top part's destructible. I think that would be good. And then it's just like you have a certain amount. Once you set another one down, it takes the like maybe even reduce the amount you can set down, but make it so that they are like you cannot destroy them. Because I think that's the dumbest part about her kit is that you just like you put it down and it's almost immediately gone.
Yeah, I heard someone say like they suggested a thing where it's like you give her timed and then instead of like you break it, it's almost basically like mobile queue now, give you queue, it's time, but like whatever. That would be a really interesting change for her. Forgot we got a rampart hater on this.
I also think you should get shocked if you walk through her wall. I think if you climb over her wall, you should get shocked.
No, don't
Okay,
start giving her
I already
Newcastle.
hate
I don't
that
think
for
it's I don't think
Newcastle.
it's energized for
No,
projectiles. I would actually be fine if
no,
you could
I
throw
already-
projectiles through the wall. I would be fine if you could throw them through it.
I am okay with the projectiles being zapped, and I fucking hate the stun. Once again, why is it a Wattson fence and a Wattson ult in one? That Newcastle ult's stupid.
It is, yeah. I just think I don't know. I think if you could if you like the fact that you could just climb through the walls are insane. Like I think you should have to break it to go through
What
it.
do you mean? But that's if you're able to get close enough to climb through the walls, she should be invalidated. She shouldn't also have ways to counter you from getting in.
She also
Her wall lets her do more damage.
That's
Like,
true.
what?
That's
And
fair.
she shoots through it, and you can't.
Ever
Like that's
since
crazy.
I saw, was it Go Next or who was it in Champs last year that died
It
because
was
of a
Go Next,
Kraber
yeah.
shot? Kraber
Through the
shot
rampart
through a
wall.
Yeah.
rampart wall. They die and they don't go to freaking
Yeah.
losers 2. That was heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Once
Rampart's
I
got
saw that,
got her place, but yeah.
If I ever hear a Rampart with a Kraber or a Rampart team with a Kraber, I literally yell at my team, "Don't peek! Rampart walls!" That's literally what I shout.
Revenant, I would say only just because like he does still have a lot of shield. Maybe the very bottom of C. I've seen some people
Yeah.
try him. I don't
Yeah,
think
he's
that.
too
Shadow at
individualistic.
EWC.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
individualistic and like he doesn't help the team too much, but like he wins fights.
Yeah.
He'll
That-
win his once.
he'd win his
I'm gonna
ones in
be
a
real.
bubble fight.
I still think that teams that are like at the very bottom of the leaderboard in like the final like game or two should be busting out incredibly aggro Revenant comps to just try and run it down. I still don't understand why more teams don't do that.
Do like a Rev
Like,
Path
what do you have to
Gibby.
lose?
Just run a Rev Path Gibby and just like
Just go crazy.
go
Like, what do you have
crazy.
to lose?
Yeah.
Try to let who like you got
You
a
gotta
crazy
drop a big game. Like,
fragger.
you have
Yeah.
to drop a big game,
Yeah.
right? Like,
So let your crazy
can't- you
fragger
can't-
get rev.
Yeah.
you can't afford a like a 5 or 6 kill win. Like you're trying to drop 25 plus points here.
Yep.
Yeah, like screw the survivability of a Newcastle. Like pick up like a Lifeline and just start going nutso or something.
Yeah.
you know?
Triple support. You think someone just goes for the full triple support meta just for resets?
No, that's what I'm saying. Don't
can't
even try to
die.
reset.
You
Try to just
can't
kill
die.
everybody.
Yeah.
You can't die.
Here's the thing, you can
kill
Yeah,
craft
that's why
banners.
you have one of them.
You can
have the
craft banners.
Lifeline,
If they
but-
die, if 2 of your teammates die, Rev just queues out and he goes in like reses in zone now.
Here's the thing, though. Maybe I'm just playing bad Revenants, but every time I see a Revenant, especially in this shotgun meta, it takes like for me, I found it only takes like 1 extra shot for me to kill this Rev because like I'm able to break his shield. How much HP does his shield have? I've never played
50?
Rev really.
I think they made
Is
it.
50?
It used to be
It's 50.
75.
It used to be 75.
Okay, because like I'm like with a Mastiff, I'm fucking literally breaking that shield in 1 shot.
Yeah.
And, like it has a bigger hitbox, so I'm like I'm literally taking 1 extra shot to kill these guys. Like I don't actually.
But that's 1 extra shot if you're both hitting him.
Yeah, but.
But
I mean,
also, Gibby has arm
once I put,
shield.
like, I was gonna say once I put
Which
that
is
Gibby
50.
bubble down, I'm fine. Or like once there's a Gibby bubble down, I'm fine.
Yeah. Seer. I think Seer D. Maybe C tier. I don't think Seer's as bad as Bloodhound. But I don't think Seer is great.
Seer sucks.
I would say maybe top of D, above Alter, maybe.
They killed those characters. They wanted to. We
Yeah.
didn't sell those characters for too long.
Yeah, Seer sucks.
Let's see.
I'm fine with D.
Yeah. I'd probably
Wherever.
maybe below Alter. Alter's got console. They're still moving your team. There's still a little bit of like, yeah, I'd probably say there. This is another interesting one, Val. I think a lot of people thought she was like top A when this meta started, and I've kind of always thought that she's like in C tier, to be honest. I think that she does one thing, and that's just get your team to end zone. That's literally it. I think the teams that crutch, like so many teams try to crutch her to like make up for bad macro or just like get out of jail free cards, and it almost always gets them killed. I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's just bad plays to use a Valk ult.
I would agree. I
Yeah.
used a lot of we played a lot of Valk for the purpose of like the purple perk. Like the information you get from that is really, really, really good. But the amount of times our team was Valk ulting to try and get positions in zone and we weren't able to get that purple perk was like more often
Yeah.
than not, it felt like, right? And because of that, a lot of times more would almost even refrain from making us do the Valk play because we didn't have purple. He's like, I don't want to blind Valk ult. And so it like just left us in positions that like we were really struggling. And you know how you mentioned about how like you get your ult so often back with Pathfinder. We weren't playing a Pathfinder when maybe we should have because we're able to get more Evo because we could hit more beacons because that ult keeps coming back and we could just like hit them really fast. Where you can't do that as much with
Yeah.
Valk. So
Also, like, yeah, you get the scans on going in, but how often are you Valk ulting in without hitting a survey beacon first? Like, just hit a survey beacon. They're on every POI in the map on the map now, and just hit a balloon. If you like survey beacon
well,
and evac
like
is
I
pretty much the same thing.
I think you are getting it sometimes. You got to remember about how fast like you have to move on something like a perk. We've had this issue. Like we
Yeah.
sometimes scan a beacon and we don't move on that information for about a minute.
But like a
minute and
pro
half,
team
right?
is.
A pro team will be, but like only sometimes. If they have the ability to, sometimes they might
Yeah.
need to Valk ult. That info goes crazy. I'm not trying to advocate for her being higher. I'm just explaining like why I've thought she was
Yeah.
good. Where did you say you want to put her? Like I'll agree.
High
with you.
She's
C.
the top of C.
Also, when
I'm
you
fine
get
with it.
there, like who's not Gibby bubbling you if you land right next to them?
So that's what I'm saying. Like I'll agree with it. I'm saying like the reasons why I think people thought, but no, I'll agree with it.
Yeah.
See, go ahead.
Vantage. I don't have any clue. Honestly, I have no clue. I don't think she's F. I definitely don't think she's F.
I think she's like bottom D.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
Scan
the only thing
console,
is she could scan console. She can get
put her
both.
above Loba, put
I
her
would
above
say
Loba.
she can get both. Puts her above these two.
Okay, I'm fine with it. I don't really
Yeah,
have a bonus
it's a
with
reset
Vantage.
meta.
She's
How
D.
you're not thirsting kills. Vantage's
Yeah.
value is like you just get long range thirst like kills. You're not getting those
Yeah.
in a reset meta, so maybe there. I don't know. And then
Yeah.
the last one is Wraith, and I think that she's okay. I don't. Maybe a little lackluster way to end this, but I feel like she's okay. I think
Bottom
she's better
C,
than
top
Valk.
D. You think she's better
Personally,
than Valk?
I think she's better than Valk because I think you can actually make rotates an endgame. I think she's a lot less risky. She's just a worse Pathfinder, in my opinion. Like you can, I think the amount of plays you can make,
Valk's
her
still got
Q's not
information.
terrible.
Valk's got still got information though. Like you got like
I-
if you do get purple, that information I'm telling you is valuable. It's like it doesn't hurt to have, and then you can hit recon.
But, like-
so I wouldn't say she's better than Valk.
But you partner
I-
like a good Wraith with a Newcastle, and you can just get the best position in an end zone without having to fight anybody.
How are you getting that position without information? Like how are you getting that position without knowing something?
But you see a lot of places where you're like, that's a really good spot. We can't get there. You could Pathfinder, but if it's a Pathfinder zip,
What's your comp? Because like, or who are you? Like you're
Gibby
gonna do
Newcastle.
Gibby Newcastle. So you don't have zone. So how are you saying I'm gonna get
You
this position
don't
in
have
zone when you
zone.
literally don't know where the zone's gonna be?
I'm
You don't
saying
have
in
ring
late game.
console or survey beacon. So
you have
like,
to get but to get to late game, once you get to late game, now you don't know if someone's gonna already be in that god spot.
I don't even think she's better than Ash. Like I think it's a little crazy.
You think
And
right behind
I was
Ash?
the guy who likes when DSG played Wraith, but
Yeah, I can see maybe like right here, like above Conduit.
But like the reason they used to play Wraith, if you ever listen to design streams, because he would get kind of like tilted. And he'd
It's
feel
just
like he had to
it's a
do
safety
everything for
pick.
his team. So he'd play Wraith because he felt like it gave him the most survivability to just try and play on his own.
Yeah,
I'm not saying his team deserved that, but I'm just saying that's what he used to say.
yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
yeah.
I would say like maybe right below Ash then, if I was
like
conceding. a little
I
bit.
agree. Wraith is good like micro rotations. She obviously can do the stuff Path can do, where you can like go get crazy off angles and queue back. But it's just not as valuable in current metas. Like it's what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
She doesn't
Not the
create openings like she
information,
used to. Yeah, no information. Like she
Oh,
doesn't
and I'm
offer
not,
you survey
and that's
beacon
why
or
I'm not
ring
arguing
console.
B or A, but I'm just like,
Yeah,
I think
No,
like,
that's
But
why
it's-
I'm
but that-
arguing
but that's
not
for,
better
like-
not better than Valk.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
how is she
that's
better than
fair.
Valk? Valk can get you survey beacon. Valk can move you halfway across the map instantly. Like that's typically
I
more valuable than like a slight end game micro rotation.
If I saw a team running Valk, Gibby, Newcastle, I wouldn't go, "Oh, that's crazy." But if I saw a team of Wraith, Gibby, Newcastle, I go,
That's fair.
"That's
And you're
fucking
actually
crazy."
not getting like any Evo with her. To
Can I
be,
just
Yeah.
say too, it pains me that Wraith has become this like meme character now when she used to be like the face of Apex
Yeah.
Legends.
Yeah,
I
bring
Bring
Wraith
back
back.
Wraith.
I would
Man.
love to
Bro,
see
We
a Wraith
brought back
meta.
Gibby. Bring back
we
Wraith.
brought back
Honestly,
we brought back Pathfinder, bro.
brought
I
back
thought I was never gonna
Pathfinder.
see they obliterated Pathfinder.
They
for what
obliterated
it once was. So I thought like that was never coming back. He was never coming back in the meta, and he did.
I remember the early seasons when every patch note was, "We've increased Pathfinder's grapple duration," and you're like,
Yeah,
cool down. You're like,
she
no.
was hurting me.
It was like
When I
every
hit
time.
back grapple and I land, I still to this day go 25 seconds for real. Like,
So, what would you? Just a side note there. What would you have to do to make a Wraith meta?
You'd have to come.
recon.
You got to kill other characters. You got to give her something like a recon or a ring console. You got to completely rework her passive because it's basically useless. Like, who cares if a team's aiming at you, bro? Like, that doesn't really help you anymore.
Especially in
Um,
comp, you literally usually know.
What if
Especially
it-
Yeah.
with recon?
What if her passive
You got-
highlighted an enemy team where they were whenever they walked into it when they entered a radius from you?
I suggested on Twitter that they should just do the COD thing where it's like when the team looks at you, it flashes which direction of the screen they're actually looking at you from. So
Oh,
you know
that'd be cool.
where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But I don't think that makes her meta. I think you got to bring back instant queue. I don't know why. Like honestly, with the way the current meta is, I don't feel like instant queue is.
It's
like,
not broken
impressive.
at all. It's
No
nothing.
more
It's not broken
clones,
at
like-
all, bro.
It probably doesn't even make her meta.
We got these
No, it
guys
wouldn't. It
regenning
wouldn't.
HP. Like,
And then honestly, her port, I don't know. I just feel like it's not. I don't know. I feel like it's not very good.
Yeah, it needs to be way longer, probably.
See, but even then, I don't feel like making it longer or running faster. Like, I don't feel like those things make Wraith meta. Quite like, I think they would have to rework it. Quite honestly.
What if she just was like she got the whole like? What if she was just in her queue the entirety of her alt placement?
That would probably make it a lot better. Yeah.
So you just like see where she's running, but you're just like I can't do anything about it
You
until
just
she
can't do
places
anything
it.
about it. Yeah, that would make it way better because then she's invulnerable during it. But
Yeah. Honestly, even
don't
then, you're like, do I take her or Pathfinder? I don't know. I don't. It would.
the issue with
like-
that is I don't think I don't think the devs would ever do it because then the simple fact that you don't have to actually get out of Wraith portal, you can just stand still, and
You'd have to make a timer to it for sure. You'd have to like
Yeah,
lock it.
I put this conversation also too, though. I'd put Falcon. If you guys want to put low B, I'd put Falcon B though, because again, that's a character where if I saw the
Yeah, I'd
comp,
agree.
like if
Yeah.
I saw a comp like Valk, Gibby, Newcastle again, I wouldn't be like that's crazy. Anyone in C, I'd be like that's interesting.
Yeah,
See how
I
this
think
will go. I'd stay on their
By the
POV to
way,
make sure I understand.
to add a caveat.
take-
Yeah.
I was just gonna take Conduit over Wraith for the simple fact of if you do contest Lava Siphon, you're running Conduit.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair.
Where would you ever play Wraith? You know,
Honestly,
there's a
maybe even over
reason to play
Caustic.
Conduit.
Like maybe even there.
He can hit rank consoles.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's an important context because I think a lot of people are going to look back and be like, this guy was putting some crazy takes. I have a tendency when I think a character is really overhyped to really underhype them, and then I have a tendency in the opposite direction. Like Valk, I was pissed when I saw how many pro teams were running Valk instead of Pathfinder at the beginning of the season. I was pissed. I'm like, this is so dumb. You guys are
It's just
like
Valk sucks, you
Dude,
idiot. What
I
are you
am. I'm
doing?"
raging at the screen. I'm watching like scrims, and I'm just like, these guys are all idiots. Like, what is going on? Why is everyone running Valk? And then I'm like, and then it's like the opposite is like, there's like these. I'm like, come on, we're gonna say we're never gonna play this guy. We're gonna never. And then I'm just like, I'm juicing them up way more than they need to be juiced.
Jayhawk and Burke already had a full 20-minute podcast about crypto alone during my rank.
That was
game.
why I wanted to do this video, is because we had that argument. I was like, honestly,
listening,
good episode.
listening to these guys go and honestly, I was on Jay's side because I was like,
Yeah.
Burke's saying some crazy shit about crypto right now.
It was definitely juicing him a little bit.
And
I'm just trying to
here-
play ranked, and Burke's got some of the craziest takes about why crypto's good when he's not.
Here's what I want to say too. I think that a lot of people don't realize this. I like crypto. Like I had a crypto phase when I was bad at the game. The character
no.
who got me to diamond for the first time ever was crypto. I bought crypto's heirloom. Like
You just
I
lost
enjoy
subs,
crypto.
I think.
Hey, it is what it is. Do I play him at all anymore? Absolutely not, because I don't want to have to sit on that drone once I got better at the game.
Just by scanning characters.
And I like
But
crypto, but I've never played him. I think I played him
have-
once.
I have a special place in my heart for when I was absolutely god awful at this video game, and he got me to diamond, and then I learned how to play it and got to diamond and masters without crypto. So like, I still have that special place in my heart with crypto, but it is what it is. Crypto, in
Yeah.
comp, it's a whole different ballgame.
I think the best metas, in my opinion, are where like crypto is played by like 3 to 4 teams. That like I love seeing I like seeing a few crypto teams, and that's it.
I will die on this hill. I know the pros always love the Pathfinder, Wattson, Wraith, but that's just because back then the game was so simple that characters didn't really impact things.
Yeah.
Like they kind of did. Like you played Pathfinder to get rank console, but everybody did it, so it didn't really impact things, right? So it was kind of just gunplay. I will
Yeah.
die on the hill that split one playoffs year 3 TSM winning with the Seer Horizon Valk meta and the niche Valk Wattson crypto meta was the best meta that has ever existed in Apex Legends. Hot take.
Ooh. Jumbo best meta?
Oh, it's a tough one. I liked the champs meta, but like I don't know if I want to say it's best.
The
I
what
like
was it? Seer
the
Cat Bang?
uh
Or
Cat
not Seer.
Bang Horizon.
Cat Bang Horizon, yes.
I just
'cause
like
they
the
nerfed Seer.
aggressiveness of it. I like the aggressiveness of it, honestly. And like there was still some flexibility there. Like we were seeing some Watsons, everything like that. Um, I liked it, but yeah, best. That's a hard question. I also do like the one that Jay just said, but like I like metas where Seer's not wall characters aren't like wall hacks characters aren't being played as much because I just feel like those pro players have to use a little bit extra like thought process about what they're gonna do rather than going wait scan left. Okay, we go.
I would
Yeah.
agree. I don't love wall hack meta. I specifically love that time for the simple fact that there was a majority meta and a niche meta,
Right.
and they both coexisted. And there was some like random other kind of stuff some people would try. Like I remember for a while, teams were still trying Gibby during Pro League. But I really loved that land where it was like 2 metas existed, like 75%, 25%. And I don't feel like that has ever been captured ever again.
Yeah.
I like the metas where we get this like cluster, but I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I'd
agree
agree.
with that. Like because on that same note, like the ones with clusters, they're interesting, but like ask me what the EWC meta was, I can't tell you. I know Fuse was played. I can't
Seer.
tell you.
It wasn't like Fuse Seer
Seer Bang.
Bang?
Yeah.
Is it
Maybe
Fuse Seer
Path?
And
Bang?
Path.
But like there was a
S1.
lot of like mixture in there because like there was cryptos and everything too. Like
So
was it
this is
crypto?
tough because I just made a video where I explained stuff about EWC, so I have thought of it. There was usually like 5 to 7 Watsons in the lobby, 5 to 7 fuses, like 5 or so paths, and then like a lot of Seer Bang.
Yeah.
So
I feel like it was the most random meta, but maybe
it
not.
was very random. It
It
was
was.
very random.
Yeah. It was a
Bang
fun
was
one.
like the only constant in that one.
I'm not gonna lie, I know that the players didn't like it too much, and I know a lot of viewers didn't like it too much. I didn't mind split 2 it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I'm definitely making that argument. But I really liked seeing
No.
like Gaming
No, not
Gladiators
the
ripping the
crypto
Newcastle. I really like
But
seeing
they were
Gaming Gladiators
interesting
run a
because
Newcastle.
they
was
didn't play
cool.
crypto.
Right. That was cool. And I wish that it would have been a better
Cool.
balance. I also really liked I think some of the funniest moments came out of that land. Like I definitely think like that madness play is gonna live in like as one of the best clips in
But
like
they're
Apex
only
comp.
Focus for
funny
like
once.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're only funny once.
They're only
Like,
funny
if
once. I
had to
agree. I
watch
agree.
every tournament and
Oh,
that shit was
it-
happening,
yeah.
I'd be like, give me something different
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's why I'm
funny.
saying
100%.
I don't care. It's funny because it was new, and we're like, look how
Dumb this
god-awful
is.
this is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look how dumb
it's
this
gonna be
is.
funny like 2 years from now when like someone's making a throwback video that mentions it. And it's like, remember that one time that like teams in Pro League were literally just sitting in the middle of zone, invisible as a crypto, getting second place.
Yeah.
That was funny, right? And then you move on. Like,
I'm
that's-
glad it happened. It's not one of my favorites, but I'm glad it happened, is what I'm gonna say. And I know a lot of people are not gonna agree with that, but I think I'm glad it
Actually,
happened.
no. You'll get all the crypto guys on your side. Like, trust me, I've dealt with the crypto guys, and they hate me for not saying that I didn't like that, or that I didn't like that meta. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I feel like you won't get as many people disagreeing with you as you think. They can disagree with me. Fuck that meta.
Fair enough.
I
Also,
don't
we
like
got a
when
nice
crypto
bell
is
curve here. I
a lot of
realized.
meta.
No,
Wait,
I think
you
this is
do,
a
right?
solid list.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
objectively only right list. There we go. Yeah, I'll hit a screenshot of this and throw it up on Twitter. Thank you guys, everyone, for listening or watching. If you're listening, you have no clue what this looks like. You can go pull it up on Twitter and see it. So otherwise, thank you all for that. Sub if you haven't already. and like and comment what you'd like to see in future episodes of the pod. If you want to see a new guest or anything, you're going to have to convince them, not me. Yeah, if you don't want to see Jumba or Jay ever again, you just comment. If you need new replacements, I don't know. These guys are washed. Anyway, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.